Good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
Cheers for that, Chris. Thank you very much. And we're back for F1 2017 at the Austrian Grand Prix with a new power upgrade applied to the car. As I said last time, this is recorded during when McLaren Honda have the bug, so I'm not actually getting that extra performance.
Good morning, welcome to the Red Bull Ring. Let's join the action trackside as the cars are about to appear for today's practice session.
So practice, we need to keep grinding away, getting those resource points. Eventually, of course, the bug will be fixed, so I'll actually get my power upgrades that I've been pumping into this McLaren Honda. But Austria, I do enjoy the Austrian Grand Prix circuit, and this car is going to flow very well around here. Like I said, it's a good chassis track. There's a lot of flowing and high-speed corners, so we're going to be able to get a good lot out of the car while we are down on power. So we're getting as many resource points as we can. Perfect track acclimatization. Green for the old tyre wear test, and you can see coming through the final sector now, taking it nice and slow. And we should be able to, if I lift off just enough, get a purple score for the fuel saving program. Yes, we do. 50 more points in the bag, and then of course the old race strategy will get 50 points there as well. But yeah, we're going to suffer in the first sector around here due to it's a big old hill. You need a lot of power, but sector 2 and sector 3 we should be able to do all right in there. So here we go, qualifying pace again, just throwing it around. It's these final couple of corners where the car just felt so planted. I was able to get on the power so soon out of that final corner. Coming up to the line, green score once again, and it's, yeah, 30 points, but you know, it's points at the end of the day, and we need to keep getting these points for us to be able to improve this car.
Hi, how are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
So the team want me to qualify 16th and beat Pascal Wehrlein. I've got no idea where my qualifying footage went, because this is all that I've got, but we actually managed it. We actually hit the objective. We qualified 16th and beat Wehrlein, who came last, and we also beat Jolyon Palmer to be officially the second fastest Brit on the grid behind Lewis Hamilton. But you know, there you go, really. But 16th, you know, looking forward to where we can look to go with that one. Like I say, I enjoy the Austrian Grand Prix. I think we'll be able to carve our way through the field, and who knows what we're going to be able to do around here.
Davidson joins me to talk you through the action here today at what is quite an unusual racetrack, wouldn't you say, Ant?
Yeah, it's quite an odd layout around here. The thing about Austria is that it's a harder circuit to master than what really meets the eye. On top of that, it's a low grip surface, and that means that your small mistakes end up being punished, and it's very easy to slide wide into the runoff area and lose a huge chunk of time. Luckily, because it's such a short circuit though, you have plenty of opportunities to perfect the lap.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Kimi Raikkonen's perfect lap yesterday sees him start from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Bottas, Max Verstappen and Massa, Ricciardo, Stroll, Perez and Esteban Ocon, Fiat, Sainz, Kevin Magnussen and Grosjean, Hülkenberg and a McLaren, Jolyon Palmer and Fernando Alonso, Ericsson and Pascal Wehrlein completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So the team, by the looks of things here, are recommending a one-stop, starting on the soft tyre, finishing off on the ultra-soft. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. In fact, what I'm going to do here is, due to the time difference only being about 3.5 seconds between the two strategies, I'm going to run a strategy, if you think back to Spain, where we started on mediums, then ran softs, then ran mediums. I'm going to do the Austrian version of that, where we're going to start on supers. We're going to do 13 laps, pit for ultras, really hammer it out on those ultras, and then come in for supers, because then our supers should be fresher than cars running on the one-stops ultra soft tyres, and therefore the performance should even out. That's my thinking. Obviously, we'll need to see how that looks to go, but yeah, two-stop round here is a very short lap. 1 minute 10 is what we'll be seeing in qualifying. In the race, we'll be doing about 1:12s. And it's, you know, it's just a lot of laps, and it's just, it pays to be repetitive around here. That's the key to success around the Austrian Grand Prix. And like I say, I feel very confident about performance in the second and third sectors. So we're just going to need to utilise that to set up any kind of overtaking opportunities this weekend. As, you know, beating another car in qualifying was such a big confidence boost for me. Even though I now know the McLaren's not getting the performance upgrades, it's clear to show that we're clearly getting more used to the car and being able to fine-tune the setups better as we now build to the 5 red lights. And they're out, and away we go off the grid. Hulkenberg bogging down ridiculously as we charge towards turn 1. We've already taken him. Palmer's on our outside. Magnussen's up ahead. We're going to take it nice and cautious into the braking zone, not trying to lose any front wing. Cars can spin out at the exit of turn 1, but we haven't had that. We're mixing it up with the ultra soft runners as we head up towards turn 2, trying to get as much slipstream as we possibly can. Pull up behind Sainz. We're on the very right. Oh, we dabbed across the grass just a little bit there. We brake hard into turn 1. Try and mix it up as much as we can, brushing our tyre with the side pod of Esteban Ocon there. But we've managed to fight our way up into a top 10 position by being bold early on the brakes, and that's what we need to do in the first lap. Try and take the positions as we now have Carlos Sainz having a look down our inside into the third corner, but nothing gained there. You can see I've overfueled the car quite heavily to try and make up for any kind of power deficit, but Sainz now going to try around the outside of the fourth corner. Only 9 corners on the Austrian Grand Prix circuit, but Sainz not able to find a way around the outside just as of yet. And we claw our way through and keep it in 10th position here as we cut to lap 4. We've managed to hang on quite nicely to the group of cars ahead, even though we're running a harder compound of tyres. We now come up towards turn 2. The cars are slow on the brakes. Ocon leaves the door wide open. We come steaming down the inside. DRS wide open, and that's us up into 8th place now, as we're now up, and we would get 4 championship points if we finished here. And we're now on the back of the Red Bulls. It looks as if Lance Stroll is the cork in the bottle, as it were, with the 2 Red Bulls stuck behind him. The Mercedes and the Ferraris have clearly built a massive lead. Perez now tries it down the inside of turn 4. We're going to go round the outside. Can we look to get a good run? No, Perez squeezes out. He's done us there, unfortunately. Just left him too much room, and of course he's going to have more grip in the corners on that ultra soft tyre. But, you know, up into 8th momentarily. We are down to 9th, but we once again stayed on the back, surprisingly. This car performing very well. We've got Sainz going to have a look to have a go maybe into the second corner, but lay on the brakes. Look how much we gain on the cars ahead. We've made a bit of a coming together with Sainz mid-corner, but what we're gaining in the braking zone to the cars ahead is what's keeping us in this race. That turn 2 is crucial for us, and now Sainz is maybe going to try and have a little look, but he doesn't due to the DRS that we have. Jeff was coming on the radio to offer us a strategy change, but no, we don't want that. This is Sainz now later on in the lap, trying into the penultimate corner. We go side by side, and we're going to go around the outside of the final corner, keep it ahead of the Toro Rosso driver. And still, I don't understand how we're able to stay ahead on a compound harder of tyres. It's once again, like I say, the car just through the high-speed corners. Of course, Sainz going to be feeling the dirty air effect sitting behind us. As we now look to head towards turn 2, we've got Perez trying to make a move by the looks of things on one of the Red Bull drivers. We defend from Sainz as we go charging towards turn 2. Again, it's one of those where we're saving all of our time there, and it looks as if the cars behind, Ricciardo's got past Stroll, Perez has made the move. Now Verstappen's trying to line him up to make a move, but we're now right behind the Dutchman in his Red Bull there, around the Red Bull ring. Can we take a look into turn 1? Not quite. We're going to take a nice easy exit, take a lot of curve on the inside, set him up nicely, sit in the slipstream, and Verstappen's going to try and have a look at Stroll. Meanwhile, we are going to maybe have a look at Verstappen as we head up the hill towards turn 2. We pull to the inside, late on the brakes, come off, stamp straight back on it. Verstappen leaves us the room, leaves the door open. We squeeze him out, and that's us up into 8th position in the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's get a replay of that one, because we came from a long way back, in all fairness, but Verstappen thankfully saw us coming, left the room. Weren't too unfair. He did take himself relatively wide, in all fairness, but we jump ahead of the Red Bull. And now come the end of lap 10, we have closed up to the back of the Williams of Lance Stroll. Their ultra soft tyres are starting to drop off a little bit here as cars are making the pit stops. We're up to 7th. We once again make a similar exit. We do run a little bit wide though, so losing a bit in comparison to Stroll. His Mercedes engine going to get him up the hill quite nicely. We're looking to more defend from Verstappen, who's going to our outside. He's stuck behind Stroll. We're once again going to go from a long way back into turn 2. That one was even more bold than the move that we made on Verstappen a lap or so ago, but once again now up into 6th place. and this strategy proves to be proving it quite well for us here. But we now cut onto lap 12. Verstappen had a look down our inside here. We're going to be coming into the pits at the end of next lap. Verstappen has already dived in by the looks of things, so he's already in the pits. Perez from ahead of us is in the pits as well. So the guys with the Ultra Softs actually taking the tyres a few laps longer than the team recommended I could on the 2-stop. Now, whether that's because they do intend to run to the end on the soft tyres, but we're going to come to the pits at the end of this lap. Meanwhile, we have Romain Grosjean attacking us down the inside of turn 4. He can't quite make the move stick because the Haas isn't as good in the sweeping corners as the McLaren. And at the end of lap 13, bang on schedule, we're going to come in for our first pit stop of the race. It'll be interesting to see. It's been a few laps since the guys like Stroll, Perez and Verstappen pit. So we're going to need to see where we come out in comparison to them. But we get it all slowed down nicely. You can see Ricciardo is on the soft tyres. You would expect him to run to the end of the race. We now fit the Ultra Soft. A good 2.3 from the McLaren boys. And now you see Perez goes past us. So Perez has got a nice lead. Here comes Esteban Ocon on Ultra Softs and Lance Stroll. So those two guys you're going to expect to pit again. Here comes Verstappen through. So those three guys have all managed to remain ahead of me. But they're not too far up the road, surprisingly. So they didn't get too much of an undercut. And now, of course, we are on the fastest tyre available. So it's like I said in Spain, it's now time to push this tyre to the very maximum and do as much as we can. We caught Alonso a few laps later, and here it comes. The young upstart British rookie in the McLaren team passes the wily old fox into turn 1. Looks like we hampered him a little bit, and one of the Haas drivers is going to get past him. That is Grosjean, who is still behind us, so we kept it ahead of Grosjean, which is good to see. But unfortunately, the cars ahead, even though of our ultra soft tyres, they are pulling away, and I think this is the stint where, unfortunately, it looks as if they got into a rhythm. And obviously the McLaren Honda clearly showing its true pace. We're not getting any kind of slipstream boost as Grosjean gets a better run out of turn 3 on us, even though he's on a compound of tyres too harder, as it were. But he's completely done me there. And then I've got the dirty air effect going through these sweeping long corners, and I can't get on the power early to try and have a run at him. So we're just going to have to try and sit behind him, see if we can stick with him and make a move, maybe into turn 1 or turn 2. But you can see a couple of laps later that hasn't happened. And then I become more concerned, honestly, with the cars behind me rather than the cars ahead of me. You can see me asking Jeff there, because both myself and Alonso have 1 stop remaining. So you can see myself asking. I'm 5 seconds ahead of Alonso. We've both got 1 stop left remaining, but bear in mind, he's going to go to the Ultra Soft. I'm going to go to the Super Soft there. You can see as well, we've only got 16 runners left in this Grand Prix. I'm not too sure when any of that has actually happened. But Alonso, you can see me asking Jeff again, steadying the gap. So I'm getting concerned now about, obviously we were running so high in the points earlier, but it appears to be slipping away from us a little bit here as I'm saving a bit of fuel so I can lean on the Super Softs near the end. I did decide to check in on how Pascal Wehrlein was doing, and he's a country mile behind us. He's basically half a lap behind, so yeah, just repeatedly asking Jeff what the score was when it came to Fernando, because when it came to the point of not being able to score, maybe not scoring points, we're running in 10th right now, and as you can see now, diving in to get rid of these ultra soft tyres. I think coming a lap earlier than anticipated, just to get rid of them so I could get on the super softs and run to the end. They were starting to lose performance, and unfortunately, due to the fact we've done that, we've actually come in the same time as Fernando Alonso, so he's going to get held behind us, lose a bit of time now, unfortunately. My apologies for that, Fernando, but all of my questioning with Jeff and understanding if I was going to be racing him to the end hasn't happened. So here we go, out onto the super soft tyres at the end of the race, and we're going to see Bottas come through, and there is Kimi Räikkönen. So 2 Finns line astern in this Grand Prix as we get lapped, and we're down in 12th place. And I'm pretty sure that most other cars have already made their pit stop, or if anyone did have a pit stop left to make, as Raikkonen locks up into turn 2, allowing me to go back down the inside, if anyone did still have a pit stop left to make, then they were already ahead of me on track, so it's not like I'm going to be getting any kind of undercut to catch them up. So, yeah, right now I was feeling a little bit disappointed and questioning my strategy, thinking was the 2-stop the way to go, or should I have maybe stuck to the team's recommendation of the 1-stop? As we come around on lap 25 again, I'm just pushing as hard as I can, you can see, using the maximum amount of curb and maybe a little bit more as we tap one of the sausage curbs. Hulkenberg did actually come in, so we did actually get into the crucial position of 11th place. Should there be any more mechanical failures from ahead of us, we will be in the points. And you can see Jeff giving us the news now about Massa has made another pit stop, so he's on fresh ultra soft, so we're not going to catch him. We've got Palmer behind, and you can see now another car exit in the pits. That is Lance Stroll making his second pit stop, and he's on ultra soft as well, and once again he's come out ahead of us. So this is the case where the cars ahead of us are now on fresher tyres and a compound softer, so it's going to be very difficult for us to catch and pass them. In fact, nigh impossible, especially if we're going to be any kind of advantage we would have in the corners is being negated due to our increased compound of tyre. So it almost got to the point like Baku, where my spirit was broken, right up until this exact moment where the safety car, our first safety car of this career mode, got called out. First full safety car on lap 30, technically lap 31 for the leaders. So only a few laps left to go. It's for a limping Jolyon Palmer getting back to the pits, but a full safety car is now out in the dying moments of the Austrian Grand Prix. So like I said, it was like my spirit was getting a bit broken. I was just going to bring the car home, but now this has got me full alert, maximum attention. In if we can pull off a miracle, we might get points. As you see, the safety car there allows us to pass it, and unfortunately not unlap ourselves, as you're going to see in a brief moment there. We didn't quite get to unlap ourselves here at the end of my lap 32, beginning of lap 34 for the leaders realistically. So we've only got a couple of laps left to go, but we're gonna pull up now. This is a bit of a weird one. Keep your eye on the top where it says catch the safety car queue. So you've got Stroll in 10th. I'm going to sit behind him. It says catch safety car queue, and then it's going to flash briefly. You see it there, past Raikkonen. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do as the game says, and I've put my foot to the floor thinking we could unlap ourselves. I've passed Stroll, I'm in 10th. I go to pass Raikkonen, and it tells me to return to the correct position. But then it tells me to pass Kimi. So it tells me to, and Jeff tells me to, and then it tells me to return the position again. So I'm not too sure what's going on here. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be unlapping myself or not, because I try again, and once again, we're not allowed to. But either way, due to some glitch or bug, I've managed to get 10th place. And Carlos Sainz is just there, and he's on soft tyres, so he's on a compound harder. So he's going to be at a disadvantage at this restart, and we're going to need to take maximum effect of that if we can, as we resume racing. At the end of lap 33, we're going to have 2 laps of racing here to the end. Sainz, of course, lets off the throttle to let Kimi Raikkonen past. I'm flat to the floor because I've only got Lance Stroll behind me. Sainz is going to be slower through turn 1. His tyres will be colder. He's going to have less grip. We're going to run up towards turn 2. We're going to try and take as much advantage as we can. We're getting blue flags. So is half the field at this point. And we've got to make a do-or-dive move, maybe if we can, from a long way back. It's been our signature, and we're going to come steaming in, take a lot of curbs. Sainz! I don't know how he saw us coming. I don't know how we pulled that off. That was the Daniel Ricciardo lunge of all Daniel Ricciardo lunges. Just look at this from a huge distance. I've still got no idea how I slowed the car down, and I recorded this race a week ago. But you can see Sainz gets impeded a little bit there, and he's managed to fall back behind Nico Hülkenberg. We're still fighting to the end here, though. We now need to let Bottas through, and I'm feathering the throttle to let the Mercedes through to try and lose as little time as possible, and Hülkenberg is now back on us. 9th is going to be the maximum position we can look to get this race because Massa is on the lead lap. We are, of course, lapped, and we now have to try and keep an eye on Nico Hülkenberg as we come on to the last lap of the Grand Prix. Hülkenberg on ultra-soft tyres. As we go through turn 1, he can't hang it round the outside, but he's got more power, fresher tyres, softer tyres, and this is going to be a fight to the flag here as Hülkenberg once again going to try and line us up round the outside. He clearly didn't see my actions from a lap ago. There's no way he's going to get past us into turn 2 as we fend him off. Now we have to look in our mirrors as here comes Daniel Ricciardo. You're going to expect us to have blue flags again as we're getting them here. Hülkenberg once again going to try and go to the outside of turn 3. I'm not going to allow it to slide. We take a lot of curb on the inside, squeeze him out, give him little to no option. I think his front wing tapped our rear diffuser there, and now he's let Daniel Ricciardo through. So now we need to try and let him through and not give the position up to Hülkenberg. So we have to keep in Daniel Ricciardo's way here, and we're going to let him through in the same place we let Bottas through. I fully let off the throttle. Daniel Ricciardo comes through, stamp back on, retake the racing line. Hülkenberg's got no way through into the fast right-hander. Final corner, no way through. Hamilton wins the Grand Prix, and we're going to take it wide and come across the line for a surprising yet satisfying 9th place.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So they have it, 9th place in the Austrian Grand Prix. A bit surprising. Like I said, there was a midway point in that race where I really questioned my strategy call, and it definitely didn't work out for me. That safety car really saved me and allowed me to get points due to a bit of a glitch with Stroll, and then just a suicidal move on Carlos Sainz. But 9th place, 2 more points in the bag for the McLaren Honda team, and honestly, I'm glad. You know, I love the Austrian circuit. It's a great track. I feel as if I can perform well around it, and to come away with points was a nice little surprise, you know. Especially, like I said, during that middle period with the race where I was thinking I've made a huge mistake. But Lewis Hamilton wins, Kimi Räikkönen second, Bottas running the 2-stop of the front runners came home third. And yeah, that safety car at the end kind of made it so 9th was the best that we could get, but I will take 9th all day long. That moves us up to 11th in the Drivers' Championship on 16 points. We now tie Esteban Ocon of Force India. Alonso there now overtakes Wehrlein due to, I believe that's like best finishing position. He's now positioned in, so he's yet to get a point. We'll sort of see what happens when our upgrades actually start affecting our car in the near future. And that McLaren, 16 points. Of course, our all 16. We're trying to catch Renault and Toro Rosso if we can, but it's going to be a big old slog for us to overtake them. But as long as we're beating Sauber, realistically, we're hitting any kind of expectation of the team. So there's our resource points going on. We're at 811. We've still got those last couple that we need to add for being the first driver, which are going to go on just now. So 830, not yet enough for another performance upgrade. And we're going to see in the rivalry, due to this weekend, how well we performed. We're going to overtake Pascal Wehrlein in the driver rivalry update. And I'm pretty happy with that. All round a very successful weekend, I think. And you can see here all the teams. My reputation's going up really high. Haas are apparently very interested in me. Followed up by sort of Sauber and Toro Rosso. So obviously we'll need to... those are the teams that are probably going to be looking to offer us a kind of deal either at the midway point or at the end of the season. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Do leave a like if you did enjoy the Austrian Grand Prix. One of my favourites that it's back on the calendar because I love driving it. And I mean, it doesn't, you know, give the best races in real life, but I like to think that we did all right, especially for McLaren, you know, this weekend as it were. But yeah, Silverstone next, the home Grand Prix for me as a driver, and home Grand Prix for the McLaren team. Not so much the power unit, that will come in Japan later on in the season. But once again, I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.